I'm going to show you my favorite gouache box of all is Caran d'Ache, Switzerland. And the reason, I would just include this in the cart for my fashion classes, except that it's harder to find. It used to be easy to find. I first started using this gouache box when it was easily available. And now that I want to recommend it for my own programs, it's harder to find. It's more overseas. But the brand is Caran d'Ache Gouache. And when you get it, they have a smaller set, but this is the set you want. It has this many colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This is deplorably beat up and messy looking right now. That's because it's well loved and well used. It also comes with a tube of white gouache. I don't have that with me, but like a tube white. And the reason they put the white in the tube is because it keeps your white clean. So that's fantastic. And I want to show you also that the box itself is a wonderful palette. Every bit of it is usable as a palette with wells. Ta-da! Easy to wash, easy to carry. And then I'm going to clean this up a little bit, but I'm hoping that what you can see when you look at this is how rich the pigments are. Like super bright and beautiful. And that's going to make a difference in your painting for sure. Tiger, how are you? I was out with Dave last night, sending you tons of love because I miss you. And yeah, I was just talking about parenthood. My daughter's car just broke down. I had to get it towed with the roadside assistance, and she's crying, and we're worried. And it's just, it's hard stuff. The paint box that I recommend is this one is also called Pelican Gouache, but I think when you buy it, it actually says opaque watercolors, but it's the same as gouache. Hello, guys. So this is the one I actually recommend with Freedom Fashion because it's easy to get. I actually prefer to have less colors like this set. Less colors. The great thing about the Caran d'Ache set is you have black, yellow ochre, Van Dyke brown, and gray. And between these colors, you can get so many skin tones and nature colors plus white, right? And then you have like the cool... this red is kind of like a cool red. You can't tell right now. Then you have orange. You have two kinds of blue, like the greenish blue and then the royal blue. Actually 3 kinds of green. And the yellow has the warm yellow and the cool yellow. So it's super, super, super wonderful, aside from the quality being great. Gemini! Right now I'm using this brush, which I never would have used a brush this small until recently, but these are the ones that you can put water in, and that's like super convenient. This size brush works well if you're working on small art. I'm going to use my Caran d'Ache palette here. Oh, this is so dirty. I didn't realize. I'm a very impulsive worker, so I'm apt to work and then just leave my dirty brush somewhere and then come back later. Yeah, because I always work till I'm like spent. Okay, so normally this would be clean if I had cleaned my tip. But because this is small, you can only use it with a smaller, if you're working smaller. So the thing I wanted to say is if you get the Pelican Gouache, it's a little bit cheaper and you get more colors. But that more colors isn't always best. Still, you want your skin-related tones. I usually put my blacks and browns and skin like all near each other so that I can easily and quickly make skin tones, because as a fashion illustrator, skin is like fundamental. I like to be able to get any tones I want and easily. So check it out. This particular palette is so easy. I can move my colors around and put all my neutrals and skin-related colors in one place. This set also comes with a tube of white. And then I like to sort out. I like to have a warm red and a cool red. That's what I love, that this set includes both. Thank you for the hearts. Love you so much. The only thing that bothers me with this set is that this brown has a green feeling to it, and this brown is very orange, and there's no like Van Dyke brown, which frankly I would just tell you to buy a tube of Van Dyke brown. Van Dyke brown is an excellent base for skin. Notice, look, these blues, how different they are. So you're not stuck or restricted to just one kind. This is the more greenish blue. It doesn't seem like it when it's next to green, but look what happens when I put it next to the regular blue. Oh, it's funny. Okay, the phone actually changes the way the colors look, because this looks very much almost like a teal. And then see how it has the warm and the cool yellows? Like, these are super important. It's really important you have both kinds of yellow, because this is a very clean, lemony yellow. This kind of yellow is much closer to orange. It has a different impact when you mix it with colors that would be deadened by the orange. And then look, there's all these different kinds of oranges. A very orangey red. Oh my gosh, it's a great set. In fact, my college portfolio I did with this exact set. But like I said, this is still my favorite. This is my true sweetheart. And while we're at it, I'm going to show you one more. This is similar in price to the others, I believe. Like maybe it's like 30. This is Gouache. I don't even know what language it is. Opaque watercolors. So that opaque watercolors always kind of means gouache. And before I end this video, I'm going to show you how they work too. So this is a set I heard about like 15 years ago, and I never got it until, gosh, a few months ago. I finally saw it in person, so I just bought it up for my courses. But you can see, I don't know if you can feel it. See, every time you buy a paint set, those colors, again, comes with a tube of white. The colors kind of have their own palette to them. Now, granted, you're going to mix your own. Okay, this is a perfect Van Dyke brown, by the way. It's not so orangey, like burnt sienna, Van Dyke brown. These are colors you want to have. Yellow ochre. This comes with a gold and silver, which is kind of fun. Sort of a skin base. So between these two colors, again, these are, hang on, yes, movable colors. Whereas this set, oh my God, I never knew it. Hello, Sade. Oh my gosh, are you the amazing inspirational speaker? Oh my gosh, is that you? I thought it was Ashanti, but maybe it's not Sade Ashanti or Ashanti. This is, these are movable too, and I never knew it until today, but they're truly removable. So you could, I love this order. I love the way these colors are organized. Like I said, I always like to keep my neutrals and skin tones in one place. Hi. Okay, so the nice thing is you can customize, and you know what else you can do if you get overwhelmed by having so many colors. And again, I do notice that these colors have like a more serious flavor to them, a little more like earthy. But what I can do is I can literally just fill one palette with the colors I know I live off of and keep the other as like a spare, so that I don't need to always look at all 20 colors. Does this make sense? Because sometimes you really don't want all that. You just need, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. You want your cool red and your warm red, like your orangey red and your bluish red. You want, green. You want a blue that's like a royal. You want your skin tones. Super important. And let me just show you, the Gouache box is a little different. It's palette here, and then this is just wide open. So if I had to pick a box, I really love the Caran d'Ache box because it has so many wells in it. And I also never showed you the Pelican palette. So I'll show you. These are the paints, and the box for the Pelican gouache is like this. So it's pretty cool too, right? Those are your wells. Because as if you've ever watched, I always feel like all of you have seen my videos 100 times, but maybe you haven't. So whenever I work with gouache, what I do is first I start with a puddle. Always, always, always. Start with okay, no, not a dirty puddle. Start with a puddle of clear water, and then start loading your pigment in. So let's say this is the color I'm using. Because I'm working with dry pans, what I usually do, oh my gosh, the color looks so different on camera. What I usually do is wet my colors first so they start to kind of melt, because water will help them get gooier faster. And then you use your brush to lift pigment out of the palette and then drop it into your puddle. And you keep doing that, and it's important. Hang on one second, guys. I'm going to use Bristol for this. It's kind of a waste of a big fancy piece of paper. But it's important that I use Bristol because Bristol will show you the true effect of gouache. Gouache in your sketchbook is going to be kind of sheer. Vanessa Falabella, hola! Dahlia, hi! Vanessa, when are you playing again? Incredible, incredible artist, Brazilian singer. Follow her in New York City. Hola! See how sheer that is? Now, that's what I call watercolor effect. And by the way, this water fillable brush goes from very thin to pretty thick, which is nice. But for gouache, the very characteristic of gouache is that it doesn't have to look like watercolors. Watercolors are very sheer. If you use a very sheer paint, then your line, it's going to look a little bit coloring booky, as in you're going to have very sheer color inside of black lines, right? But if you take the time, this is a little quicker and easier when you work with tube gouache, but tube gouache doesn't give you the portability. Quando vai tocar de novo, Diva? When are you playing again, Vanessa? Her CD is amazing too. I don't know if you can buy it through the link on Instagram. Okay, so I'm adding, do you see what I'm doing? I keep adding more pigment to my puddle of paint. And you're going to see how the color changes. Okay, it's getting more rich. Now, it just so happens as well that I'm using a pink. Reds and pinks are the hardest colors to get opacity from. They're the most sheer. So just to give you some color theory and color language, this color is more saturated. This color is less saturated. Both of these colors are washes. But what happens is there's less pigment in proportion to water here, more pigment in proportion to the water here. And I'm going to do one more load up where I get even thicker. And like I said, I'm going to have to go in a minute. When you use your watercolor brushes, which are round and pointed, don't make a habit of grinding them into the palette because you'll beat up your tips. Also, don't leave them upside down in a cup of water. It's another way. So tap, 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 tap is the gentlest way to work. Tap, 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 tap. Make sure you mix it so it's homogeneous because you don't want your paint to be like all thick and goopy on one side and all watery on the other side. You want it to be one weight. Oh my gosh, I'm so surprised, okay, at how, all right, this is a little thicker, right? So that's the character of gouache. Gouache is actually more opaque than this when you use other colors. Ultra Isla, is that Isla Allen? Isla. Hi, guys. And now the other thing is, you can water, is that Isla? Did you change your name? I got to look after. Yay, hi. So here's the thing with this. So this is more saturated, less saturated. You know, I could get a lot of steps from like practically totally watered to like totally opaque. Like if I go straight off the palette onto the paper. Yay! Oh my gosh. Now I feel like the old Periscope days. I'm going to start Instagram living more. So I really recommend that everybody, if you missed the beginning, but if you come back, you probably already have the paint set. But I recommend that everyone have a portable paint set that they can use. Gouache on Bristol paper will hold the Bristol way more than sketchbook paper will. So use sketchbook for quick, getting quick ideas out, but Bristol vellum it's not super gritty, but it holds the paint so much more than sketch paper will. And I've barely ever used this set, the Gouache set, so it's interesting to feel like, how it feels. Okay, so let me flip for a second. So today's message is, do you have a paint box? If you don't, why don't you? If you're going to get one, send me a message. I'd love to help you pick your best paint box. I actually have other paint boxes that I would recommend too, but it all depends what's important to you. This is a watercolor box. You see how different the paints look? You see how dark the colors look? And how radiant? They're much more, this is watercolor. It's much more radiant and transparent. And actually I wouldn't recommend this, but just to show you how different boxes, the colors feel different. And the quality feels different. But it's nice to have something portable with built-in palettes. You deserve that. You don't have to spend a ton, but you want to spend enough where you've invested in yourself, your ideas, your exploration, and the pure physical, sensational pleasure of playing with quality pigment on paper in itself. If you just use it not even to draw anything,